Hey guys, Bobby Bollinger here, and today we begin our weekly predictions for the NFL's 2017 season. It has been so long, but we're finally back at it. So, let's get into this. The season kicks off with the Chiefs at the Patriots. The Chiefs against the Patriots. I'm still not sure where it's played. I don't care. This game is definitely one worth watching. We have a team that really wants to make it Super Bowl with another team that's, defending Super Bowl champs. Now, who do I think is going to win? I think it's going to be the Chiefs. And I'm not kidding about that either. Because I feel like this is going to be a close game regardless. But the difference, I think, is going to be the Patriots, with how they built this team up, seem to be wanting to give Brady a best season ever before he retires. And that's going to require throwing the ball up more often. And I just feel like against one of the greediest defenses in the NFL, he's going to get picked off at least once. And that's going to end up being the difference in the game. Should be a good game, but I'm going to give it to the Chiefs. And another thing I think I should mention is in week one, teams like last year's Bears can nearly defeat or even defeat last year's Texans. Like, I saw the 49ers crush the Vikings in the year the Vikings went to the playoffs. So, week 1 and week 17 are both just flip a coin, basically. But this. So, most records are going to be 50-50 in week 1. But I trust my judgment, dang it. Anyway, Jets versus Bills. Divisional rivalry. One team has hope. The other team is basically trying to suit itself so it can be reincarnated, hopefully. Maybe. Yeah, I don't think anyone is picking the Jets to win this game, although, like I said before, it's week 1. It could happen. Oh, I hope that's not actually cutting anything off. Anyway, Jaguars versus Texans. The Texans don't look like they've solved their quarterback issue, and we might get a repeat of last year in quality, which isn't good. But the Jaguars have last year's problem flat out, so they're not exactly much better off. And they have Leonard Fournette. I'll go into more detail on a different video there. It seems like that's not going to work out as planned. So, I think the Texans are going to win this one. It's two defensive teams, and I think the Texans just happen to have the better defense and better tools on offense. Steelers versus Browns. Oh boy. Hey, have you ever heard of picking the underdog? Calling the upset. Yeah, that's honestly what I think is going to happen. This is a game where I know they are at Cleveland, and here's why I think the Browns will win. The Browns are heavily improved from last year. They've got a better quarterback, we're pretty sure. They've got Myles Garrett, who showed promise. Jabril Peppers showed promise. So the Browns have vastly improved, and vastly improving on 115 doesn't sound good, but any one of those people I mentioned before, Kaiser, Garrett, Peppers, just having one of them would have instantly won those really close games. Like, if the ball had bounced differently, the Browns would have been 5-11. So with those other guys around, just one of them, it would have been a big difference. So the Browns are, I think, even better than people think. Even better than the people who think they're better than people think they are. That's a complicated sentence. Meanwhile, the Steelers, Big Ben has obviously been slowing down. He's getting injury prone. That shouldn't crop up in this game, but he is injury prone. So he is slowing down. And that's a major problem for what's supposed to be a high-flying offense. Another problem is that their running back, Le'Veon Bell, pretty much just got back to training camp after holding out the entire offseason. And I doubt the playbook's changed much, but you should see a little bit of rust on him. It shouldn't be a ton, and he'll get over it fairly quickly, but I do think Bell will have some rust on him. So I think the Steelers are going to drop game 1. Now, will the Browns beat them the second time through? We'll see. Cardinals versus Lions. Lions, I don't think have improved at all since last season. I think they're pretty much the same thing. Meanwhile, the Cardinals are about that place as well, but I think the Cardinals last year were better than the Lions last year, even though the record didn't say that. Why I say that is because they had both one of the best offenses in the NFL and one of the best defenses in the NFL last year. And it's weird, because when you hear that, you're thinking they went to the Super Bowl, but they didn't even make the playoffs, which is just weird. Of course, that's due to offensive line issues, and I think most powerfully the fact that they don't really have anyone to throw to. Yes, there's Larry Fitzgerald, and he is great. He's also getting old and, yes, starting to regress. He even admits he's starting to regress. So, and I looked at their stats from last year. That is literally the only person Carson Palmer had to throw to that wasn't the running back who is supposed to be running the ball. So, the Cardinals last year had some issues. I don't think they've improved much either from last year, but I think they were better than the Lions to begin with. Buccaneers versus Dolphins. Okay. I made my prediction list for this a while ago, but I gave myself some wiggle room in case I ever changed my mind on any of them. If an injury should befall a franchise quarterback. Yeah, I used that here, and I do not regret it at all. The Buccaneers are definitely a team that really hopes for playoff aspirations. They did a lot to their offense. Now, defense, I'm pretty sure it still sucks, but the offense should be potent. Meanwhile, the Dolphins, I had them winning with Ryan Tannehill because I thought, hey, the Dolphins can get to the quarterback pretty well, and the Bucs don't have the best of O-lines. And they can run the ball on the Bucs. And with Ryan Tannehill, they can throw it fairly decently on the Bucs, but you can't just take a franchise quarterback and replace him that easily. It doesn't usually work out like that. Dak Prescott, that was a miracle. Jay Cutler, you guys know my thoughts on him. I don't think it's going to be that kind of miracle. The running game, though, could definitely give him a win here, but I'll go with the Bucs. Okay. Defending Super Bowl losers against the Bears. Now, I don't think the Falcons are going to be anywhere near as good as they were last year on offense. Maybe improved on defense, but I see them being a worse team this year. After all, they lost their offensive coordinator. And I do think the Bears have improved. But one was so far down and the other was so far up that even if the weaker gets stronger and the stronger gets weaker, the original strong man is still going to be a little bit better. But don't discount the Bears in this at all. They're probably going to run all over the Falcons. Raiders versus Titans. I'm actually looking at my schedule. Considering my battery life, I have to hurry this up. Raiders and Titans, this is going to be an awesome game. Marshawn Lynch, oh my god. I think that I stand by what I said last year. The Titans still have the type advantage, so to say. What they are beats what the Raiders are. And I think they've improved enough for that to show this year. I said that last year, too. Ravens versus Bengals. I don't trust either of these teams to do well, and quite honestly, I don't know who's going to win this. So, I did what you're supposed to do week 1, and I flipped a coin. Bengals win. Eagles versus Redskins. I don't see any reason for the Redskins to be better than last year, and they nearly did squeak into the playoffs last year, so that's not too bad. But the Eagles are definitely a lot better than they were last year. There's at least one good person in the secondary now, and their defensive line is probably the best in the NFL. Combine that with the fact that Carson Wentz has the chance to prove himself, I think they have a good chance at the playoffs, and they have a good chance at this game. Colts versus Rams. Not having Andrew Luck sucks. It really does, because my team is the Colts, and it sucks not to have Luck, but it is for the best. Fortunately, we won't have him against the Rams. Unfortunately, the Rams do look better than last year. But I still think we can pick this win. I'm saying this largely because I'm a Colts fan, yes. Panthers versus 49ers. Okay, 49ers are on a rebuild, and things look fairly promising with them. The quarterback coaching on its own at least looks better. Panthers, they had a weird situation last year, but I think it's better. Is it playoffs? I don't know. But it's definitely worth winning in this game. Seahawks versus Packers. The battle of whose window will stay open the longest. Personally, I'm going to go with the Seahawks this game. Seahawks-Packers is usually interesting, even if it wasn't last year. But I'm going to trust the Seahawks to this game. The real question I think that'll decide this is, who fixed their terrible, terrible running game? The Packers sure as hell didn't. I think the Seahawks at least tried. Giants-Cowboys, the game of the week, I'm sure. Will they have Ezekiel Elliott or not? I don't know. Will OBJ be his best after that injury in preseason? I don't know. And to be quite honest, I don't care. Either way, I trust Dak Prescott, and Dallas Cowboys running backs, the ones in reserves are alright, and the O-line can make anyone a 1,000-yard receiver. Now, it takes a guy like Zeke to get over that threshold. It takes a great to get that 1,600, but the running game is not going to be weak, guys, trust me. Okay, Saints versus Vikings. I don't see any reason for the Saints to be better. The Vikings O-line looks better, and they have a much better running back than they did last year, because this time, he's not old and washed up. Oh yeah, speaking of Adrian Peterson, isn't this a convenient game 1 for him? He's gonna get screwed so hard. Chargers versus Broncos. Broncos, it's kind of interesting because they have a new offensive system, I've heard, and that's going to be a lot better for Trevor Siemian. But at the end of the day, their issues were with the offensive line. And they didn't fix that, because really they couldn't do much about it. Chargers, they fixed their issues somewhat. So I feel they get this game. Well, that's going to be all for this week. My battery's all pretty much almost dead, so bye.